I can't go back and give background on all this. I run out of video. Um, I'm just going to continue. I was up on Full Heart Knob, um, Appalachian Trail, living to have a place to be. Get me off the side of the road. Um, this was a few years back, and I would say I don't remember. Yeah, it was after. It was about '95. It's that coming after. It would have been early spring of '96, I think. I'm right. And I had been kept penniless. Is the reason I was up there. And I went to the emergency room in Bedford, and I believe his last name was Johnson. Dr. Johnson saw me. And then that was in he saw me would have been in the fall of or summer of '05 or '06. I can't remember. But anyway, this is early '95, I believe. Anyway, he was an emergency room doctor, and he comes up. I didn't know it was him. He was dressed in hiking. Him and introduced the man as his attorney, friend of his in college, and they went to school in Ohio together. Well, they come up, and I didn't know he was the doctor I'd seen in the emergency room. He was dressed different and everything, and the attorney I'd never met, but he looked like the attorney I had in Atlanta, Eugene Kaiser, who was a former district attorney of Fulton County in Atlanta. Anyway, he just looked like him a great deal. So they cooked roast, and I literally went for days without food. I didn't have sleeping bags and tent and backpack. Like other people, I literally froze and starved with everybody around knowing it, and it hasn't changed, believe me. They are afraid. They don't care because of who I am. But most of all, they're afraid. Everybody has something to hide, and law enforcement is behind it. I wrote a book about mind control and programming people, and Larry Flint was the guy that shot him and killed his attorney in Lawrenceville while I was doing the book in Marietta, Georgia, was programmed to shoot him. And Flint and his attorney was killed. And this was an article written then. I ran the campaign to replace one of the doctors I wrote about, who was a U.S. congressman. But back to the mountain. I found out he was the doctor I had seen when he started to leave the next morning. It was he and his son, who was 7 or 8 years old, and the lookalike attorney. Of course, he was an attorney. They went to school with the. So what's the purpose? I mean, this has been ongoing. This kind of thing. They brought a roast up there and cooked it. Offered me nothing, and when you haven't eaten and you're starved and freezing and the smell, they slept that night and had food. Next morning they cooked again, and the little boy was kind of friendly, and I said, they slept in the shelter. They had tents, I guess, I believe, but I slept in the shelter. And I asked the son, I said, well, what's your father do? He said, how many sisters and brothers, siblings he had. He said his father was emergency room doctor at in Bedford, Virginia, right next door to Roanoke, Travel, where I was, or I am now. And I understood. His name was Johnson. I asked him then, and he was the doctor. They had not offered me any food, and when they left, they knew the condition I was in. That was the reason they had come up there, deliberately come up there, because this is kind of out of the way to come up that and go back down that little part of the trail. You have to make a point to do it. This is away from Bedford, and it's in Prattville off Mountain Pass Road. And the doctor said to me, and he was talking about his attorney, and his attorney said it. He said, the attorney said, you come to Ohio, and we'll do the same thing to you that's being done to you here and in Atlanta. And they left. Now that I'm just going to use one other example, because this has been ongoing, Atlanta, here. I would walk down the Appalachian Trail. This is after the new part was built, and it's still going across Mountain Pass, and it's really rough. And go to the post office and store to try to get a little food or whatever, and come back up once a week with a backpack. It's so hard to get up, it breaks your back, and this is just part of it. But there was a guy that came up the trail, backpack on, and he passed me, and I was having a heck of a time just trying to get up. And he said to me, he was from Alabama, and that's where they took me when I was kidnapped in 41. And he said to me, he said, you know, I would help you. He said, but I've been told that I would lose my job, and this is in Alabama, if I helped you. So this is an ongoing, they got to jobs, they got to, the people's kids would commit crimes or driver's license, or you know what I mean. And in return, the people, if the charges were dropped or whatever, they did what the cops and the law enforcement told them to. So I don't know anything else. I mean, I showed my feet. I'm allergic to chemicals, and that's what's been used on me, my immune system. Um, I have an immune disorder, and if I'm around chemicals, you have to breathe, and that's what they've used on me. If I inhale toxic fumes, it works on my kidneys, and then the very medicine I get to stop the inflammation works on the kidneys. So over time, it's really just killed me. I'm almost 76 years old, and this is my feet right now. And this is my kidneys shutting down. And where I'm at right this moment, you know, I've reached out and cried, and the only thing I've gotten and put it on YouTube because I can't get an attorney. If I get an attorney, he up and leaves and moves and takes papers with him, and I never hear from him again. So the law enforcement doesn't help me. They're telling them to do it. So this is my dad. I was kidnapped. He was forced out. I put all this on tape. This is why it happened. I was kidnapped, and I'm Victoria the second, heir to the crown, not this woman, who's my cousin, I'm sad to say. Her father, George the sixth, illegal, is here with Roosevelt planning my kidnapping. And this is 39, the year I was born, kidnapped in 41. And it was the illegal treaties that my uncle signed, allowing the United States to put all its bases on Great Britain soil and use. We had to fight against ourselves, and they got the real monarch over here, and I'm still here hostage. And my father was married to Georgia O'Keeffe's sister, Claudia Ruth O'Keeffe, from Madison, Wisconsin. And this is Larry Flint that flew me out there during a campaign to replace one of the doctors I wrote about mind control and programming, Larry McDonald, congressman doctor, whose plane went down in '83, and that's I was flown out there twice, and the guy that shot Flint and killed his attorney was programmed. So there's, well, I've told you what they're doing to me, and it's done in plain sight over and over, and I can't run. I'm taking medicine now. So if I had to be put in assisted living or something, or on life support, or on dialysis, they'd really have me. If you think I'm lying, no, not one time. I have told the truth through all this. And I worked for the district attorney in Huntsville, Alabama, after I had antifreeze put in me April Fool Day of '80, after I'd done the book trying to get it published. Had a letter from the FBI, June the 23rd of '79, saying ongoing investigation, national security involved. So it's almost like the FBI said back then, we're stacking them. And they were talking about crimes being committed against me and everybody getting involved. And you know, I like Dr. Phil, but I have to say this. I heard him the other day say that he didn't believe in conspiracies. Well, it's not a belief, and I'm shocked that he would say that. This